had been remembering him for 1,400 years since this major incident took place in the history of Islam. So looking into a deeper aspect of this tragedy, these condolence meetings are very popular all over the world. Previously we had Jeannie Kennelly from the Dalkey parish and very other people who expressed themselves, including Roger Childs, who is the producer of RTE religious programs. This year again, RTE had a 10 minutes documentary made on the activity of Ashura, the 10th day of Moharram, where the incident took place. So all that is very much part of our lives, and we have put together a few speakers from the junior. I would start with Sayyid Muhammad Musavi.
Imam Husain is not only for Muslims, but he is the long-lasting symbol for all the nobles and free. His call in Karbala heard and recalled by all liberals all over the world throughout times. Imam Husain and the 73 of his brothers, sons, family and followers wrote in their blood the victory of blood over the swords. This is why the Mahatma Gandhi of India said that he learned from Imam Husain how to be oppressed and achieve victory over the oppressor. Imam Husain is not only the son of Imam Ali and Fatima Zahra, the daughter of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all, but he is chosen Imam by Allah in his time and the master of all martyrs and the master of the people of paradise. He remained at the test all over the times between the rights and the wrongs. It is by the blood of Imam Husain the religion of his grandfather was protected. This is why his noble sister Lady Zainab raised her hands with his blood after he was killed in the ground of the battle of Karbala and asked Allah to accept this sacrifice from them. She means the sacrifice of the family of the Prophet Muhammad. It is by Lady Zainab, peace be upon her, and his son Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein the revolution continued. Imam Hussein will remain the beacon of light for all the moral values and the right path for all the mankind until the day of judgment. Those who killed him and those who accepted will encounter humiliated and severe punishment. Peace be upon your grandfather and upon your brother Abbas and your son Ali al-Akbar and your cousin Muslim ibn Aqil and your sister Lady Zainab, and peace be upon your grandfather and your father Imam Ali and your mother Fatima Zahra. Our eyes crying blood instead of tears, O our beloved grandfather Imam Husain.
Second child, Ali. Ali is here with me, so he can go next.
Observing the situation of the society and the fear within people from the Umayyad dynasty, the scholars had no hope in the mission of Imam Husain alayhi salam. They remembered how the people of Kufa had betrayed Imam Ali alayhi salam and his son Imam Hassan ibn Ali alayhi salam. Hence the future was clear. Farastaq sent a warning message to Imam Husain alayhi salam saying, "Their hearts are with you, but their swords are against you." The above clearly indicates that although people knew the right was with Imam Husain alayhi salam, their fear from the Umayyad dynasty and weak heart prevented them from standing up for the truth. The rise of Imam Husain alayhi salam was completely apart from personal, political, or tribal matters. For the Imam knew that the end of this journey is martyrdom. Imam Husain alayhi salam was indeed a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the one who wrote the aims and objectives of his uprising to his brother, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, in a well-known letter. And surely the aim of my stand is not inspired by vain exaltation, and it is also not for the quest of kingdom. Neither it is to cause dissension and corruption, nor it is to wrong anybody unjustly. The purpose of my stand is the reformation of my grandfather's nation. I intend to enjoin goodness and forbid evil. I want to emulate my grandfather, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and my father Ali ibn Abi Talib ﷺ. Whosoever accepts me by accepting the truth, then Allah is higher than the truth. And whosoever rejects me, then I will bear patiently until Allah judges between me and them, and He is the best judge. These sentences of Imam Husain alayhi are sufficient enough to beat all the criticisms and accusations leveled against him by the enemies of Islam and the enemies of Imam Husain alayhi. And this legacy, the chief of martyrs, has explained three purposes for his time. 1. The reformation of the grandfather's nation. 2. Enjoining good and forbidding evil. Amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. 3. Renewal and revival of the tradition of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and Imam Ali alayhi salam. Their purposes are not different than each other, rather these are complementary to each other, because nation can be reformed only by means of bidding good and forbidding evil.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Today I would like to highlight some parts of Imam Husain's life before the Battle of Karbala. Imam Husain alayhi salam was the second son of Bibi Fatima salam alayha and Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam Husain alayhi salam was born on 3rd Shaban, 4th year of Hijri, 10th October, 626 AD. When he was born, the Holy Prophet had given the news of the birth of his second grandson. He arrived at the house of his daughters, took the little boy in his arms. People around the Prophet saw tears in his eyes. Bibi Fatima sallallahu alaiha asked what the reason was for this. He told her that this boy of hers will achieve martyrdom. One of the sayings of the Prophet, peace be upon him, is Husain o minni wa ala minal Husain. Husain is from me and I am from Husain. One can explain the hadith that Husain, being the grandson of the Prophet, was from him biologically. How a grandfather was from his grandson needs to be explained. Prophet of Allah speaks spiritually rather than materially here. He was talking about Islam, the religion he was assigned by Allah to propagate Allah's religion. He was for Islam and his whole life was for Islam and its establishment on earth. Any break in this mission would subvert this mission, which was the purpose of his creation. The story of Karbala begins with the birth of Husain alayhi salam. The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, had shown affection and love for his grandson, as any grandfather should show. But there was something more positive and profound in this love. Several times when Husain alayhi salam entered the mosque as a small child, the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, will put him on his lap and tell his companions that this is Husain. Look at him and remember him. The Prophet's insistence to remember Husain alayhi salam shows that those who forget this event will cause trouble in Islam. Imam Husain's main activity in Medina was to see that the people there know true Islam. Imam also managed the trust set up by his father to help the poor of the city by giving them food and many necessities of life. This was the true Islamic welfare state in progress, where every hungry mouth must have food, every person must have clothes and a shelter over his or her head. Imam Husain had performed Hajj 24 times during this period. Imam Husain alayhi salam also traveled to Yemen and most of southern part of Hijaz and Najd. It is clear that Imam Husain alayhi salam did not take any part in any of the expeditions by the Muslim forces under the directions of the three Khulafa. After the death of the third Caliph, Usman Imam Husain's father, Imam Ali alayhi salam, was compelled by the people of Medina overwhelmingly to take the reins of power. Imam Ali alayhi salam was reluctant and waited for 3 days before accepting the Khilafat. Circumstances changed rapidly, and within the first 6 months of Imam Ali's Khilafat, he had to leave Medina for Basra, and the Battle of Jamal took place. We see that Imam Husain alayhi salam, who took no part in any battles before, was a commander of Imam Ali's forces. In this first battle, under his father's leadership, fighting began and ended in just 1 day. Victors and vanquished were treated the same way. Imam Husain alayhi salam visited Makkah and performed Hajj 9 times during this time. After the martyrdom of Hassan alayhi salam, Imam Husain alayhi salam took the mantle of imamat and spiritual guidance of the Ummah. It was in the month of Rajab, 60 Hijri, that Muawiyah died and his son Yazid succeeded his father on the throne of the Arab Empire, with Damascus as its capital. Muawiyah, in his cleverness, had told Yazid that, "Whatever you do when you become ruler after my death, do not ask Hussein ibn Ali for the oath of allegiance. Leave him where he is, and you will have no problems." But Yazid, in his arrogance of power, did not bother to remember the wishes of his father. The very first thing he did was to write a letter to his governor in Medina, informing him of his succession to the throne of his father, and ordering him to take the oath of allegiance from Hussein ibn Ali. Yazid realized that although he had full temporal power and is the virtual ruler of the Arab Empire, but he has no spiritual strength, the grandson of the Prophet accepts him as such. People in Makkah and Medina would still regard Imam Husain alayhi salam as their leader, if only spiritually. Walid, the governor of Medina, received this letter on 26th of Rajab, 60 Hijri. Walid immediately sent a messenger to Imam's house and called him to the palace. Imam realized the seriousness of the situation and took his brothers and sons with him. Walid mentioned Muawiyah's death, Yazid's accession to the throne, and the demand for Imam's oath of allegiance. Imam replied, "A person like me would not give the oath of allegiance to a person like Yazid, who violated all tenets of Islam." Imam realized, after consulting his friends and relatives, that the life of peace for them in Medina was over. Salawat.
Before Karbala, when Imam was asked for allegiance for evil, Imam made a strategy and acted on that strategy very wisely. Because, see, the Arab Peninsula at that time, the empire, it was comprised of 5 big cities: Medina, Makkah, Basra, Kufa, and Sham. Imam went to Makkah. He left Medina, leaving a question on the people of Medina's minds. That, why is Imam Husain leaving with his family? Even like Medina would be safe for him, to live in Medina. But why is he leaving? It's dangerous. And when he went to Makkah, it was a perfect time in Makkah because of Hajj, and the whole Muslims from all over the empire were there. He began preaching to the Muslims, revealing Yazid's true intentions, his real face, his foul character. As in back then, everyone was scared to stand up against Yazid, because they could lose their lives. If they spoke up against Yazid, they could lose their jobs, their lives. So Imam left Makkah before completing Hajj, leaving a question again on the people of Makkah's minds, that why is Imam Husain leaving Makkah before completing Hajj. What can be more important than Hajj? So he sent two messengers, Muslim and Aqil and Salman, to Basra and Kufa. And after his martyrdom in Karbala, his sister Zainab got his message to the last city of Sham. And practically he spread his message to all over, the whole empire, to all Muslims before his death. In last year's conference, a speaker, he said that Imam Husain was a naive politician, and he underestimated Yazid's power, and he miscalculated what he was doing. But if you analyze and research this, topic, I kind of just proved that if he spread his message throughout the empire, so that doesn't make him a naive politician, but it makes him a wise, a very smart politician for what he done. Someone tell me, how are you going to spread your granddad's, divine and pure message when you're a minority? And you don't want to compromise to the majority, the so-called Muslim Ummah of the time. And this is still relevant today. Standing against oppression for the truth, for justice, is what Imam Stan taught us. See, Imam knew he would be killed, but he didn't go to get killed. See, there's a difference. See, he went for reformation, Islam, as in after he showed people that Yazid is a foul creature who sins in front of people, he wanted an uprising against falsehood and oppression. Tell me, if someone dies protecting something, preserving something, is it suicide or heroism? SubhanAllah, the respect that Imam should get for what he has done for us is above the skies. Yazid and his dad, like father, like son, were almost the same, but one difference. We all know that Muawiyah would drink, mistreat people, etc., commit guna, etc. But to maintain an image of a leader in front, the leader of the Muslims, see the image that the leader of the Muslims should have. To maintain that image, Muawiyah would act very religiously. The shaitan that Yazid didn't even maintain his image. See, the Islam was only 50 years a religion at that time, and it was already vanishing because people like Yazid and Muawiyah were on the throne. In Yazid's palace after Karbala, Yazid was proud to have taken revenge from Al Muhammad for the Battle of Badr, in which his grandfathers died fighting for evil. See, this was Yazid's intention all along. He claimed, Nauzubillah, that there was no message, no revelation, no religion, and it was all a scam of Muhammad, peace be upon him, to take power of the Arabs. Astaghfirullah, Yazid, a man who denies Islam as a whole, how can he be a Muslim? How can he be a Muslim? He's denying Islam and he's saying he's a Muslim. Nevertheless, the leader of the Muslims. Everyone's with me? After Imam's sacrifice, the message that he died for, the message that he died protecting, was saved. This is why us, the Shia, are here, correct? How can a man who was killed in battle be victorious, was the question. Yes, he lost the war technically, but overall the principles Imam Husain was fighting to save were saved. Imam Husain drew a line between wrong and right by his own blood. And subhanAllah, today millions visit Imam Husain's Roza, his resting place. And Yazid, where is he? Exactly. But brothers and sisters, it's our time to show the Imam, our time, that we are ready for his arrival. Brothers and sisters, how long are we going to delay this uprising because of our love for worldly desires, dunya? Imagine the grief, imagine the grief on Imam Zamana's face as he sees us repeating the same mistakes of the people of Kufa. Don't let history repeat itself, people. And inshallah, it will quicken Imam's arrival. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Thank you so much for going into quite deep and giving your thoughts on that. Is Muntazir ready, do you think? Is it working this now? This presentation, laptop presentation? I think if it's not working, then I would request Zaman to come forward and present, say Zaman and Zaidi to present his paper right there.
When the Prophet of Islam left the world, he said that I am leaving two weighty things after me amongst you. First is the Book of Allah, Quran al-Kareem, and second is my progeny, my Ahlul. Do not separate from each other until they meet the pool of Kosar. If you do, you will surely go astray. This is a famous hadith known as Hadith Taqleed, widely documented and accepted by all Islamic scholars of Islam, belonging to different traditions and schools of Islam. Unfortunately, after the demise of our beloved Prophet, some Muslim people did not practice this famous hadith. They started the persecution of Ahlul Bayt, in other words, the members of the Prophet's family. First, they attacked the house of Fatima the Zahra, the beloved daughter of the Prophet. The persecution continued. Then they attacked Imam Ali alayhi salam. Then they poisoned his elder son, Imam Husain alayhi salam. Then they finally demanded an oath of allegiance to our third Imam, Imam Husain alayhi salam. His response was, a person like me can never accept an oath of allegiance from a person like you. You know it well that I'm the grandson of the Prophet of Islam, and you know who you are. This reflects the shining personality and brave character of Imam Husain alayhi salam. Yazid ibn Muawiyah was adamant and demanded this oath of allegiance for his head. Imam Husain alayhi salam observed among people great deviation from the correct teaching of Islam and felt a moral chaos among the Muslim people of the time under the rulership of Yazid. He felt that it was his duty to call the people on the right path of Islam and guide the people towards the true and correct teaching of Islam. He set out to achieve this with his family members and a few loyal companions from his father and grandfather's time. Yazid applied greater force against the small band of people with the Imam. Imam Husain alayhi salam, with his family and companions, offered a supreme sacrifice on the 10th day of Moharram, known as Ashura. In our lives, we must follow the teaching of Islam as guided by our 12 Imams. Imam Husain's message and movement is very relevant today to mankind as it was 1,400 years ago. We have to do an utmost self-struggle in order to attain the correct path of Islam in our lives. The correct and straight path known as Sirat-al-Mustaqim. Thank you for your patience and listening to my short paper.
Sheikh Dr. Umar Ali Qadri, Amir al-Mustafa Islamic Center is here with us as well. Kieran Flynn has just joined us, who has written a book called Islam in the West from the Iraqi Shia perspective. And please make contact with him to get the copy of your book. It's quite an insight information about the Shia community post Saddam Hussein, particularly the Iraqi community in UK, here in Dublin, in Ireland, and overall. Kieran has travelled to Iraq, to Najaf and Karbala to prepare his document, his book, and indeed has done a great job, I must say that. Looking into that book, you'll find quite a nice history of the Shia community. May I like to request Dr. Desmond Cinnamon to come forward and take a seat to be on the table of speakers. I would also like to request Kieran Flynn to come forward and take the seat, and also to Dr. Sheikh Qadri and Abu Hassan to take the seat so we can start our...
What is the tragedy of Karbala? The tragedy of Karbala is about one man, Husain, grandson of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, who stood against oppression and sacrificed his lives of his companions, his family and his children, including his 6-month-old baby, in the fight against injustice and to save the teachings of Islam from utter distortion and destruction. The tragedy took place on the 10th of Muharram, 61 Hijri in the Islamic calendar, approximately 20th of October, 680 AD. This day is called Ashura. The message of Hussein at the Battle of Karbala is universal and applies to every day and age. It appeared at that time that, like hundreds of similar events, this battle would be recorded in history and forgotten in time. However, the events that occurred on the 10th day of Muharram, Ashura and Karbala were to become a beacon and an inspiration for future generations. Famous quotes about Imam Husain. Charles Dickens, English novelist. If Hussein had fought to quench his worldly desires, then I do not understand why his sister, wife and children accompanied him. It stands to reason, therefore, that he sacrificed purely for Islam. Edward Gibbon, English historian. In a distant age and climate, the tragic scene of the death of Hussein will awaken the sympathy of the coldest reader. Mahatma Gandhi, my admiration for the noble sacrifice of Imam Hussain as a martyr abounds, because he accepted death and the torture of trust for himself, for his sons and for his whole family, but did not submit to unjust authorities. I learned from Hussein how to achieve victory while being oppressed. My faith is that the progress of Islam does not depend on the use of swords by believers, but the result of the supreme sacrifice of Hussein. If India wants to be a successful country, it must follow in the footsteps of Imam Hussain. If I had an army like the 72 soldiers of Hussein, I would have won freedom for India in 24 hours. Lessons from Karbala. Do not accept humiliation. In one of his speeches, Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, mentioned that the enemies had given him only two options, humiliation or death, and he replied, How impossible is humiliation from us? Allah would support the truth. Imam Hussain announced, Don't you see that truth has been replaced by falsehood? We must be prepared to sacrifice everything that is precious in support of truth. Don't you see that the truth is not put into action and the false is not prohibited? The believer should desire to meet his Lord while he is right. Thus I do not see death but as happiness, and living with tyrants but as sorrow. Truth is the essence of Islam and fortifies the values emphasized in the Holy Quran. Imam Ali Akbar, son of Imam Hussain, asked his father, Are we not on the right path? The Imam replied in the affirmative. Ali Akbar then said, Then it makes no difference if death comes to us or if we approach death. Never too late to repent. Hur al-Riyahi, the first commander to surround Imam Hussein's troops and prevent their access to the water of Euphrates, provides an excellent illustration of repentance. Regretting his action, he asked Imam Hussain if his repentance would be accepted. The Imam told him that it is never too late to repent. Hur joined Imam Hussein's camp and was honored by being one of the first martyrs. Fidelity and loyalty. Fidelity is a characteristic admired by all. If friends meet in times of comfort and wealth, but leave when hardships and difficulties strike, it is clear that their friendship is not true. On the day of Ashura, Imam Hussain told John, a servant of the renowned companion Abu Dhar, You have accompanied us all the way, but now you may go. John replied, It is not fair that I benefit from your company and hospitality, but abandon you in your hardship. His attitude exemplifies fidelity, loyalty, and true friendship. Participation of the ladies. Without Lady Zainab's participation in Karbala, the mission of Imam Hussain could not have been fulfilled. Zainab is the sister of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. In many ways, Zainab functioned as a model of defiance against oppression and other forms of injustice. Satisfaction of Allah. The objective of all believers should be to please Almighty Allah. Imam Hussain said in one of his speeches that the only objective of the Prophet's holy household, peace be upon them, is to please Allah. Whenever he saw family members martyred, he would utter, It is bearable only because Allah is its witness. Those who remain patient will receive reward without measure. Imam Hussain, a living example of what the Quran taught, was happy to remain patient in hardship and endurance, and to await his Lord's reward. His patience wasn't out of weakness or helplessness, but it was a demonstration of his steadfastness and bravery. Those who saw the Imam on the day of Ashura reported, We have never seen a man remaining as composed as Imam Hussain, whereas his relatives and children were slaughtered before his eyes. Significance of Amr bin Ma'ruf. Imam Hussain declared in a speech that the only objective of seeking this reform was to emphasize the significance of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi al Munkar, the promotion of virtue and prevention of vice, or enjoining right and forbidding wrong. use of lawful means to reach a goal. Imam Husain tried to stop Umar ibn Sa'ad, who led the troops that murdered Imam Husain in Karbala, from pursuing his evil objectives. He said to him, "You are promised the government of Ray, modern-day Tehran, yet you will never eat the wheat of that area." Ibn Sa'ad responded, "That Bari will suffice." Realizing that he couldn't change Ibn Sa'ad's mind, Imam Husain said, "Those who use unlawful means to achieve their objectives never attain them." Shrine of Imam Husain Karbala. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا. Among the believers are men true to what they promised Allah. Among them is he who has fulfilled his vow to the death, and among them is he who awaits his chance, and they did not alter the terms of their commitment by any alteration.